Hello everyone, my name is Monique Lewis and my lesson plan is on Helen Keller and about vision disabilities. The teacher will begin the lesson by reading the Helen Keller passage to the students. Each student will have their own physical hard copy to follow along. Helen Keller was born in Alabama. When she was just 1.5 years old, Helen got very sick. Because of this sickness, she lost her ability to see and hear. Without those senses, Helen was not able to hear or see anyone. This meant that she did not learn to communicate like most children do. When she was 7, she still could not speak. Her parents hired a special tutor for her, a woman named Annie Sullivan. Annie taught Helen the sign language alphabet and began teaching Helen words. One day, Annie held Helen's hand under the water and spelled out the word Water, water, into Helen's hand. All of a sudden, Helen understood that she was learning the name for water. Helen quickly learned words in sign language, and by the time she was 10, she learned how to speak. She grew up to be a writer and a speaker who educated people about blindness. Helen went to college and published 11 books in her lifetime. This part of the lesson plan would take place after the teacher has read the uh, Helen Keller passage to the students. Um, Students will work in groups of 3 and 4 to complete the reading comprehension worksheet. This is a two-sided worksheet. The students will begin by writing their name. This will be based on first grade. So what I like to do is how to help remind students on how to put their name on their paper. We sing a little chant. The first thing on your paper is your name. It just helps them remember to always write their name on their papers. If students are having a hard time with the questions, the teacher will read the questions and the teacher can help students by highlighting parts of the passage where they can focus on correlating it to the questions here. So the first question is, how old was Helen Keller when she lost her ability to see and hear? And students will use this information and transfer it here. Teachers should remind students of the COPS strategy. So the sentence should always start with a capital. Really work on penmanship, the overall appearance of the paper, punctuation, and spelling. So let's just go ahead and complete this together. A teacher can also complete it with the students. So capitalization, she was 1.5 years old. In my school district, we have a Google broadcasting technology in our classrooms. So we have some setup like this, and it gets broadcasted onto the board on our Google TVs. So I know there's some technology that's a little bit older and it's like this same idea,
that can be used as well. They could also be kind of following along. So the next question, who became Helen's teacher? If we refer back to it, her parents hired a special tutor for her, a woman named Annie Sullivan. So instead of just writing Annie Sullivan, well, you will encourage students to write full detailed sentences. So Helen's apostrophe S teacher was Annie Sullivan. And you can, this part of the lesson, you can remind students of pronouns. Why is it important that these are capitalized? Just to further the instruction, because pronoun, it's someone's name. So, how did Helen learn to communicate? Annie taught Helen the sign language alphabet and began teaching Helen words. So, first, how did Helen learn to communicate? Helen learned sign language. I find it best for this age group of children to do it along with them and really focus on penmanship, capitalization, punctuation, and grammar. Modeling that need for modeling that growth will help them. How many books did Helen publish in her lifetime? You can go back again. Helen went to college and published 11 books in her lifetime. Again, complete sentences. Helen published, and this is also a part we can focus on too. Present past tense. Helen published 11 books. You can write in her lifetime, or I only have room for in 11 books, which is fine. But I would prefer students, well, maybe I should redo it. And I find it funny that when you make mistakes, students feel comfortable making mistakes. So it's that modeling portion again. Helen published 11 books in her lifetime. And then what I do is I give students a second to kind of look over it, make sure that we're on the same page, and then we'll move on to the next portion. And this part is their interpretation. Draw a picture of what you imagine the moment being like when Annie Sullivan taught Helen the word water. So they'll draw a picture. Of course, she's a little girl. How do you think Helen felt when she first learned to sign words? And this is all the students' interpretation of how they think Helen feels. So it's identifying emotions and how they think she would react to that. So personally, I think Helen felt excited. How would you feel? And I would strongly encourage writing this piece on the board so students don't just write a feeling. So that it's kind of like the beginnings, the starter sentence. So I put, I would feel happy. And students can use different emotions to identify what that would feel like. And then after students have worked together, they will collaborate on creating a word of what they think Helen felt like when she learned to sign language. And they will cut out words out of here and paste it together and then present to the class and how they think Helen would feel. The reasonings why and why they feel like that.